Good morning, folks. I thought I would talk to you a little bit today about internal extractions. We are doing one this morning. As you can probably tell, we're in an office block. Now, the one thing I would warn anybody who does an internal is, especially at this time of year, towards the end of the season, you are probably going to deal with a messy job. A very messy job. The chances of them having a lot of stores in there is high, and when you cut and break those stores are going to run and they're going to land on everything. So if I show you this, you can see that this colony is situated in the corner of the room. There will be a joist here running backwards, and the bees will be occupying this space here. It's not rocket science. We're going to cut this ceiling and drop the bees, but we need to make sure everything is stuck down properly. We're going to put a unit in that comes from here to here and across, so that we try to keep the bees in this space. We haven't just opened this window, we've opened this window, that window, that window and that window. So I think it's fair to assume that it's going to be impossible to keep them solely within the area where we are working. When they get out, they will fly to the windows. We don't want them occupying the room and defecating across the room or dying on someone's chair for them to sit on. And here's the big warning. You would think that internal extractions are probably a little bit easier than external extractions. On every occasion, if it comes to a 50-50 between an internal and an external, I will always pick the external option. Why? Well, one, it may be, I don't want to say cheaper to do an internal. You don't have the cost of scaffolding. You don't have the ability. You don't have the added complication of working at height, etc., etc. However, they are messy. You know, they're gonna. If you don't get this right, you're gonna trash the carpet. So we have our boots for working. And if we need to go out, we'll step outside the tent and get changed into these to walk through the building. We have an area to stack all our rubbish. That's why the area is so big. And we have solid plastic down. When you put your plastic down, don't just put it down and leave it, push it. Your feet, your arms, everything that you do is going to become incredibly sticky, and it's going to want to lift stuff. Do your best, give your best possible effort to pin it to the floor, but make sure your customers are aware that there is every chance that they're going to have to get the cleaners in after you've left. Door handles, things just become sticky. For the beekeepers, remember extracting honey in your house, how everything gets sticky, you know. But one of the main reasons why I don't like doing them internally, probably the main reason, is the same bees that you could take out externally and would be okay to deal with can be really grumpy inside. In fact, it can be quite noxious. And then when you combine today with the rain, you know, we're expecting these bees to give us a bit of a hard time. Hence why we do these jobs on a Sunday morning. The offices are empty. Not just this office, but the office next door, the office that way, the ones across the road. They're all empty. There's no footfall on the street. We're trying to keep the risk to the members of the public, to the neighbours, to the office staff to an absolute minimum. That's what we want to do. So I've probably rabbited on enough for you. If you are going to do an internal, just be mindful that I think it's safe to say early on when we started doing these, it was the internal ones which always give us a kick in. You know, the internal ones were always the ones that sickened you, the ones at the end of the day when you knew you'd done a hard day's work, which is odd because you would think it would be taking chimneys apart, etc. But when you build as dealing with bricks day in, day out, that's not a problem. The other thing as well is we'll get a hop up in down here, but you're going to be reaching up. And when you reach up, try and reach up from the side. So you don't want your hop up here. You want it here. You want to be reaching into it. I don't know if that demonstrates it, but basically you want to be to the side, taking the comb out and towards you, because that way it's not going to run onto you. I remember the first one we ever did, poor Ellis, the lad, he was literally dripping in honey from head to toe. Like, honestly, you physically couldn't have got any more honey on the lad. It was impossible to do so. Get your hop ups to the side, get get yourself out the way of that running honey, and make sure that the area below you is thoroughly and fully protected as best you can. Honey will wipe up from these walls quite nicely. A damp cloth, some sugar soap, whatever it is, it will wipe up off the pipes, it will wipe up off the radiators and the windowsills quite nicely and quite easily. It creates a whole different kettle of fish when it gets into carpets. Porous substances can be a whole different kettle of fish, and they're the ones that people are going to see. So before you start, just make sure you plan and prepare this job, not just taking the bees out, but keeping the building safe, keeping the carpet safe, keeping the members of the staff safe when they come back in tomorrow as well. Yeah, we've sent them a thing saying like you need to make everyone aware to check the seats, to check the desks, not to wear bare feet around the office in case I've got plantar fasciitis in my feet. I would probably kick my shoes off if I was sitting in here all day. We don't want a dead or dying bee which has been mist crawling along the floor and stinging them in the feet. So yeah, they would appear to be the easiest extractions. The reality of it is they are far from it. They take a little bit of thought in getting right. But yeah, have a lovely day. God bless.